So we are talking about Alien Resurgence, aka Independence Day. Slightly different spelling there. You see what they did there? Now, of course, this is an asylum picture. It's a mockbuster, of course, riffing off the success, air quotes, of the recent Independence Day Resurgence. This one directed by Laura Beth Love. Doesn't have any kind of really recognisable actors in it. Sometimes you'll get the odd kind of like B-list star, but no one really here on the kind of like the star fronts. This the budget of this movie was around $500,000, so it's obviously very cheap. So what do we expect for this? What is the plot? Very much similar to Independence Day and kind of War of the Worlds. That basically the Earth is invaded by a variety of kind of spaceships that are all sort of taking residents around the kind of the atmosphere. They basically want the humans to get off world. There's some skirmishes here and there, but they try and say, oh, we actually do want peace. We just kind of like, having a couple of skirmishes and stuff like that, and we want you. We're going to relocate you. That's what they say. Yeah, we'll totally relocate you. And of course, loads of people want to go for that and just taking that their word. But it's up to the US president, who doesn't quite trust them, to come up with a plan to basically kick the aliens' asses. So that's all I'll say on the plot here. Let's talk about the positives and negatives. This movie has got hammered on IMDb. It's only like 1.8 sort of rating on it. But I feel sometimes people just jump on a movie because it's Asylum without really looking at it, because they do some okay movies here and there. The recent Ghost Hunters, I would actually say, was quite good. I quite like that one. And some of the more sort of original films that they do, I'm not saying they're masterpieces, but some of them are okay. This one, probably what you thought, to be fair. So there are a couple of good things here. I actually thought some of the CGI dogfights were actually quite impressive for the budget. There's a couple in the kind of the beginning of the movie and a little bit towards the end, and they look okay, I've got to say. I thought they, if you just watch those kind of sequences, you'd be forgiven for thinking it's actually more of a mainstream film. That was quite good. There's also a couple of story points that I quite like. We see basically the reveal of what the aliens are actually doing to at least some of the humans, although it kind of contradicts something else that happens later on in the movie. But at one point they dupe the humans into coming, oh yeah, we'll totally relocate you, come on board our ships, and they just dump them out in space, which I thought was brilliant. So that was quite fun. What other positives have I got? That's basically it. For the budget, it's kind of stretched pretty thin, but I do feel that they have probably spent every cent they can on the kind of the effects and stuff. But it doesn't leave much room for much else, so let's talk about the negatives here. Considering this is a kind of a world event, I mean, a sci-fi film is hard to do, I feel, on a real limited budget, especially when you're kind of trying to do like a big scale one like this, and it really shows. There's virtually very few actors, very few kind of military personnel and things like that, and it all looks very cheap, the equipment they're using and things like that. One thing I did find quite funny, they have this kind of subplot with these kind of militia guys, and it's completely superfluous, and that's going to be another complaint in just a second about something else. And these guys are just in kind of like your sort of survivalist mode. I thought, are they just there because you can't afford to have like military uniforms and stuff like that? So you just have these kind of bearded guys with guns. Very impressive, which don't really have any purpose. One of the main negatives I have, that this film ends up having quite long, boring sequences. There's one sequence, for example, where a bunch of humans are trapped in this bunker and the air's running out, so they spend 20 minutes trying to get to this valve. What? In an alien invasion film, it's been a whole big, long sequence doing this. And then there's loads of just sequences with people looking at a laptop or looking at a screen or having a conversation in a room about kind of like something that we've just talked about 5 minutes ago. So obviously the budget here, they've kind of spent the money on the kind of the few effect scenes that we've seen. Then basically the rest of it is just kind of spinning the wheels. I'd say the acting is pretty bad across the board here. There are some reasonable ones, I feel, who are just kind of doing the best they can with the material, but there are some quite cringe-worthy performances as well. Particularly, I'm sorry to say, from the president's son, a young lad. Oh my god. There's real cringe-worthy acting. I'm sorry if that gentleman is watching this review, but sorry, you're bad even for a silent picture. But overall, this film is kind of what you're going to expect. It's a mockbuster. It rips off plot points from Independence Day, from War of the Worlds, things like that. There are a couple of okay action sequences, like I've said, but a lot of it is just generic kind of green screen CGI kind of ships and stuff like that. A couple of them aren't bad. We do see a couple of the aliens sort of late in the film. If you like, just kind of like cheap B movies, but it doesn't. You might like it, but it doesn't really have any identity of itself. So I'm going to give this one 3 out of 10. I don't think it's quite as bad as maybe kind of some people will say it is, because I feel people just jump on the silent pictures before they've even kind of given them a chance. And well, this one's not a good movie, don't get me wrong. I do feel it has a couple of okay bits in it here and there, but overall 3 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.